Of the NPP, Isaac J. Hyde. Good evening to you, Isaac.
Good evening,
thank
Charles.
you for joining us here in our studios.
Thank you for having me.
This protest, give us a bit more details. When is it starting? When are you ending? Where are you terminating it? Just give us some bit of details for Tuesday's protest.
Well, just like many other protests that you have in the city, we are starting at the brass spot around Circle. We shall move through the principal streets of Accra to the police headquarters to present a petition. We seek to also go to the National Security Agency to present a petition. Of course, we shall also go to the Flagstaff House to present a petition. And if God permits, we'll send copies of this petition to the diplomatic community for them to be aware of the injustices being perpetrated against the Ghanaian people.
Injustices, you say. What are these injustices?
Well, you'd agree. Chapter 5 of our Constitution, specifically under Article 21, guarantees freedom of speech and expression. Again, under Article 161, 162, we have, freedom of the media. And if we recognize that individuals have a right to free speech, and again, even individuals who we have come to recognize as new media have a right without censorship for them to express their views, I don't see why today, under a government that touts itself as a democratic government, today individuals have been silenced. And we are using the coercive powers of the states to bring some of these people into capitulation. And this is something that we as a political party don't think is a step in the right direction. I'll cite many other examples. There have been several utterances. Again, we all recognize that certain, some of these utterances coming out from our media space are going to the extreme. But I think that it calls, for a collective dialogue.
What should happen if we all accept that some of these utterances are just to the extreme? Should people be called to account for the words that come out of their mouth?
The position that collectively we abhor some of the extremes it's unanimous. It's all over the place. But when it becomes the agenda of a government to target selected people of the opposition, that is where the problem is. You know the case of Sir Obama, an instance where police, instead of an invitation, if any, where somebody goes online to go and call out our security services for what he felt that there have been too many firearms being shown across the country, and then police goes to his house, break his door, and go after him in the night. He's one of many. The Ajinkwanana issue. Issues that ordinarily you'd expect that maybe these are mere misdemeanor issues that you probably will have one or two instances of people being invited and then maybe, being fined. We have people being given sentences, and even, sometimes, the stay before your final hearing is even extended by weeks. We think that is not the way to go. When the president had the opportunity to respond to some of these issues, he told us that people's IP addresses are being tracked. When did we become a state that is so controlled? When did we become a state that has suddenly forgotten its mandate that it promised the youth of this country that it was going to give them a job? It was going to make sure that a job of 3 people were going to be done, a job of 1 person was going to be done, 3 people, different shifts. Today, the government has rather lost its mandate and is interested in chasing after ordinary people who are venting their frustration at the government. And if we as a political party do not stand against this thing, we don't think that it is in the interest of the Ghanaian people. Mind you, it is the NPP and its forebears that champion against the criminal libel law.
Yeah.
Today, we are only enjoying freedom of expression because our forebears stood for the independence, beyond independence, and the freedom of speech of our nation. And if somebody comes in and says that because he was a beneficiary, he knows the lies that he told against the likes of Akufo-Addo, the lies that he told against, respected members of our society. The very government that benefited from it today thinks that it is not going to accept that. We don't think that is the way to go. And we always say it with numerous, example, that today it is the NPP they are going after. Tomorrow, they will come after you journalists. In fact, they have already started. You saw what happened at Ablekuma North. The journalist that was slapped. The NDC only told us that they've sent some people to court. We're here to see those people. In the instance of people like Abronye, they were on remand for 2 weeks. In the case of these people who brutalized former members of parliament and independent media and ordinary citizens, they were fined 6,000 cedis. It is yours to judge. But again, we say, if you sit back and think that today they are going after NPP, so you are going to be quiet, mind you, tomorrow they will come after the media. Nobody is going to say something for you because when it's your turn, nobody is going to say anything because when it was ours or somebody's, you didn't say anything. This is something that we are not going to accept. We'll stand for what the Constitution says. We'll stand for the freedom of our nation, and we'll support the government in championing the collective research agenda. But anything beyond that seeks to undermine the very essence of our democracy, the NPP is not going to accept that.
All right, so Tuesday, the protest is happening.
Yes.
You've discussed the route with the police. Have they agreed to the routes that you proposed?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. I mean, we as a law-abiding citizen going through the processes, wrote to the police, they've invited us for a number of meetings, and we've agreed on, I mean, the route to take. Hopefully, come what may on Tuesday, we shall go out there, we shall send our message to the various stakeholders, and we hope that if the government is minded, they would, I mean, change their ways and stop going after well-meaning Ghanaians.
I mean, I heard Salam cite the Shatawale example when he was arrested by Yoko. I mean, is that part of the strategy to draw out the youth to join the protest?
Not necessarily. Shatawale is a human being and a Ghanaian just like any other person. Again, as I mentioned earlier, initially it was NPP. Today they've gone after Shatawale. And the Shatawale example comes in. At no point in time should bail be used as a punishment to ordinary civilians when they go against the law. After all that you are saying is that, you know what, the essence of a bill, and you bring in a surety and conditions to say that these are materials that should you flout it or should you go against the conditions of the bill, we are going to hold it. Again, if somebody comes before you and you place, let's say, 80 million Ghana cedis of a bill condition on that person, where is the person going to get it? Essentially, you are telling the person that you are free to go, but under these conditions, why are they going to get it? Abronya is an example. ChannelOne to me is an example. We are only saying that, you know what, go ahead and do your job. But don't use the coercive powers of the state to intimidate the very Ghanaian people. And we shall resist oppressors' rule. That is what we are saying.
I mean, what do you say to critics who say that, well, this protest is hypocritical? I mean, before the elections, when democracy had protesters were on the streets against illegal mining, I mean, your youth wing, you know, confronted them. What do you say to anybody who would say, well, you now believe in protests?
I mean, I look at it in two forms. First of all, it's never true that we confronted those protesters because I was on grounds on that very day. We had gone there to ensure that our materials, the NPP materials which had been destroyed, were going to prevent that.
Okay.
It is every civilian's right to go on a protest. Nobody has issues with that. But if you go after our property, we have every right to seek answers for that. Granted, put that aside. Let's even assume that all the allegations and misconceptions about the NPP is true. Why did the Ghanaian people vote massively for the NDC? Because they believed in the reset. The reset was not for the NDC and John Mahama to come and tell us that Galamsey today is better off because it benefits Ghanaians. We cannot, you know, pick and choose how we want to lead this country. Ghana was built on the foundation of principles and values. And it's those same standards we expect the president to abide by. Today, because NDC persons are beneficiaries of Galamsey, the NDC has forgotten so soon that all over the place they were advocating for, I mean, the need for us to place some form of barriers and conditions on Ghanaian people, the freedom for them to go about their things because you want to declare state of emergency. Today, it doesn't matter anymore. We don't think that this is the way to go. If you lie your way into governance, the realities of governance will expose you. Right, today, the NDC is only facing the lies that they propagated to the Ghanaian people.
All right. Final words. I mean, convince the youth of Ghana to join your protest on Tuesday. I
mean, once again, this fight is not just the fight of the NPP, but for our collective good as a Ghanaian people. Today, the NDC is saying that they are silencing critics. They are going to ensure that people do not go against, abuse of the airwaves. We are all against that. But then again, the very IP addresses that they are going after, even the United States and the major economies that we have built our foundations of democracy on, it's not doing what they are doing. And if the NDC has forgotten, we saw what happened in Kenya. We saw what happened in Nigeria. We've seen what has happened in Nepal. We don't think that that is the route the NDC wants to go. We want to collectively ensure that the very essence of Chapter 5 of our Constitution, which guarantees freedoms and rights of our citizenry, are protected. And for that matter, all young people should come and join us for us to protest against the injustices being perpetrated by the Ghanaian people.
Thank you very much. Isaac
Thank you
J. Hyde, the Deputy National Youth Organizer.